Welcome back to the Grump Desk. Today I want to have a bit of a yarn to you about this Royal Commission that's going on into Optus and the communications in Australia. I've been 20 years I spent with Telstra and had a fair idea about the network, and I was pretty well involved or in the industry when the privatisation exercise went through, from moving Telstra from either the PMG telecom model back to the privatisation exercise. It was not a good decision, and we're paying for that today, particularly in regards of essential services, where basically this Royal Commission is based on wondering why things like 1100 aren't working, and it might only be a smaller thing for you people that don't really know the industry, but it's a major thing when a company cannot supply a service basically as simple as 000 and not maintain it. It was very concerning when Optus, the bell should have been ringing really, when about 2 or 3 World Cups ago, Optus network won the contracts to broadcast World Cup football, that is, and it lasted 27 minutes into the initial opening ceremony, and the entire network went down, and no one asked any questions about that. SBS had to take up the role of broadcasting the rest of the series, while Optus struggled. No one asked any questions about that at all. Yet, the further we go up the road, the more outages on 000 we're having, and it's finally now someone's decided to ask a question. Now, I can assure you, when Telstra in those days, when we moved to the privatisation model and Optus actually come in and the exchange is based at Rocklea in my area, I'm pretty sure that whoever did the negotiations with Telstra weren't going to hand over their brand new network to an opposition player. So Optus actually started off with a piggyback on Telstra, and as they are today, and most of all the other telecommunication companies in Australia are piggybacking on the technology we put in. And I can say in the older days the copper network went in, and they're still piggybacking off that today. I'm even broadcasting over the old copper network as we am now. So that's basically where you stand when you make a decision to go for that cheaper price, what you think's a cheaper price, and that's, you can go to the Optus, Vodafone, you name it, Orange, whoever you want to go to. Okay, in Australia that I'm talking about, and that is the quality of network that you're going to be delivered. Now, I'm not saying Telstra is all that fantastic either, but what I am saying is that their network, they kept their network. They didn't have to lease their network, they kept it. The other people, if I were you and if I was in business, I wouldn't be giving you the best network, and I wouldn't be giving you the best staff either to run that network. But again, that's another business decision you've got to make. The critical thing is, what I'd like you to really think about is, further up the road, as us old farts are getting a little bit long in the tooth, our communications networks are going to be more and more vital to you. And I mean vital, because even in my time when we were actually putting in fibre for the first time, and I was involved in putting fibre into hospitals all over southwest Queensland and delivering that, and the vision was then that what we could do with that optical fibre was to be able to, once we had it in hospitals, we could then take the next step and to start putting what they called health kits in those days into homes where patients could stay in their homes and doctors could use that fibre and the communications gear to monitor people in their homes. And that capacity is still there today and can happen today. But that was happening back in the late 90s, and we were briefed on having healthcare installed in people's homes, particularly in people's out west, where there was distance was great, and even with the idea of the CMTS towers and all that sort of stuff, they could still get communication into homes, and doctors, people could be on monitors or whatever at home, and they could be monitored from there. And what you had then was a based semi-ambulance people. If something went really wrong, they could get to those people rather quicker, and then bring them back to the hospital if needed. That was a vision. That was a vision that was done, and that vision is probably still out there today. But the fact of the matter is, if you choose a bad network, and this thing does come up, this is not a game you're playing. You're playing a game with your own life. Now, this is not a bloody Telstra ad, for Christ's sake. I'm not doing that at all. But what I'm asking you to do is to think about the type of communications system that you're using. And you might only think it's a phone at this stage, but it's not actually a phone. It's what's going down your street, or what they're putting in around the corner. And that's something you have to take concern about. You have to take notice of. It may be only small now, but I can assure you, when you get older, it won't be small, and it'll be something there that it might be able to, it might save your life. To be quite honest. So that's something I'd like you to think about. And the other thing I'd like you to think about too is, I'll go back to the day of the essential service. If you think communications is not an essential service, turn your phone off right now and go back and start writing letters. It's not going to happen. It is an essential service. We do our banking on it. We do everything on it now at all. Yet, we treat it like a commercial service. And we whinge about our security and all that sort of stuff as well. If it was an essential service and you had a fault out, that fault would be, as it was in the old days, you were a priority. Now you're not a priority. You're only a priority if the cost is right for you to get that service fixed. If not, you can hang out there for 2 or 3 weeks. Old days, essential service, we had to get that service back online as soon as possible, and the person who was in charge of that area was kept to be accountable, fully accountable for that fault, and to get it repaired. That doesn't happen today. You hang out there like your power, hang out there, and that doesn't happen. There's no accountability whatsoever, and there's no accountability on the company to deliver that thing back to you at a certain time. Because what they've done is they've taken away all the people with all the knowledge how to do that. And there's people out there with the knowledge, like sort of stupid old me and a few other old blokes out there that are still working the streets as private contractors now, and they just laugh. Because what they can get away with today, they would never get away with in the days of Telstra, PMG and Telstra. Never get away with it in a million years. And I assure you, none of the managers of that quality we have today would be in place. And I'm not blowing anybody's arse out here. That's for a fact. So, That's about all I have to say to you today. But I'd really like you to think about it and consider if the time comes when you really need that network, make sure that you select a carrier that can do the job. And I hope this Royal Commission will define what a carrier's accountability really should be and what they should be held to account. And I can assure you, shifting employees and that offshore is not a really good start, because those people have got no idea of distance, no idea what Australia really thinks, what Australia is really all about. And if someone calls in, I have got no concept of distance, but what we are, where you have to get something fixed. Okay guys, see you later. Thanks for the call.